Hey everybody, back once again for another Regulator Talk. This time I'm with my friend Krim. I've known you for pretty much since the beginning of this year, but we're going to dive back into Star Sim as always, and this time we're going to be talking about the curse of the 21st Nova Corps. 21st, of course, known as the Galactic Marines. For all of Star Wars fans, of course. They're the really cool ones that, for the longest time, they were the only ones with, like, the big red helmet and the mask to keep them cooled, I guess you would say, or warm, I actually should say, unlike Megiddo and stuff like that. Frozen planets and not the case anymore, though, because thanks to everyone's favorite TV show, The Clone Wars, 501st also got that, so kind of lose a little bit of what makes them special, but in the movies they still are, if you're more of a movie guy. But we're going to be taking this from the movies, the TV shows, adaptations, to Arma, of course. And, Krim, my friend, please tell me, how long have you been in this little mess known as Star Sim?
Well, I was originally in the very first stage of Star Sim. I remember when the SWAT mod first came out,
Mm-hmm.
the mod community didn't really pop up till like a month after. Um, but when it first did pop up, I was part of I made a clan called the 17th Galactic Republic Army, which actually lasted pretty good. And yeah, we lasted for a long time until I had to go somewhere due to personal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back, I was decided I'm going to join if I first did. And after a while, I got quite bored of the 501st because I wasn't able to attend a lot of the ops due to certain reasons within the clan.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was transferred to a unit which I found very interesting about, which was the 21st Nova Corps, which was ran by a person called No Name, aka Chandler.
So you were, to back things up real quick, you were in the 501st. We're not going to dive too much about my adventure with the 501st. That's got a very special video all on its own for you guys to catch later on. But when you were in there, that was the old Star Sim. That was different models, different
Yeah.
community almost entirely, you know. And so things were run much different. I would still say the foundations are very much there, but I don't think they adapted too much from old Star Sim to new Star Sim. How much they had to change and play the game with the new assets. They still kind of kept it very bare minimum, I would say. And you skip over a very interesting part of the 21st. This is where I kind of going to fill in those gaps there until we get to your thing up in, what was it, probably November?
When I joined
No
21st.
names, yeah.
All right, so November. It was more in December,
Mm-hmm.
beginning of December when I first joined.
So for that time span from August to December, a little bit before that also, was in like Novemberish area, was Bakara's 21st. And he was the owner of it, as far as I know, the original one. And so he ran it very much similar to the 501st and 212th. At this time for Star Sim, I know it sounds really crazy, but the playstyles really weren't that much different. Even the very smallest of units played the same. Everyone had that same style, and I wouldn't even call it nil sim almost.
So
There was still a relaxed
Darcy
nature about it.
involved around 501st because 501st basically just laid the entire structure for every Star Sim unit. I would say almost every Star Sim unit besides 104th
Hmm.
copied the 501st chain of command, their ranking structure, everything.
Yeah, the whole 9 yards. There was not really any originality with it aside from you pick your color. Like, what's your favorite color? You like yellow, you like red, you like blue. And the Galactic Marines, also from old Star Sim, they were just another reskin of a clone. They didn't have their Galactic Marine uniform. So when that comes rolling around in January, you're going to see the spike in people because that's very new, that's very different, makes them stand out.
Yeah.
But Bakar's 21st, of course, with the red paint on them.
They had
So
a very bright paint. I don't remember what armor they used, but they used.
it was the 21st, as far as I remember. It was called the 21st armor. I don't have that version of Swap anymore. Now many people do, actually. Fun fact. It's one of those things where so many people had it, but now that we've all updated, barely anybody has it just laying around to find. And they managed to get a lot of people with it. They It's a very interesting way to describe this. So, 21st was trying to do the Gark thing. A lot of units were trying to do the Gark thing. They wanted to get into Gark, At the time, I believe it was 15. It could have been 30 members active. I believe it was 30, higher up on the 30 side. And that's what you needed to really get into Gark. And that was actually, it was a lot easier. Oddly enough to say, it was a lot easier back then because the 501st wasn't absorbing everybody in membership. They were still bringing in big membership, but I think they didn't have the massive amount of media exposure or just, my friend tells his friend and his friends tell all of his friends and his friends tell his uncle and his uncle tells all of his workers. There's a whole 9 yards of people coming in, from all over. It was kind of the case too with this. It just kind of spread like wildfire within the 21st. They kept on getting people, and so much that they absorbed units and they kind of prevented units from getting people. And they decided they didn't do Gark for whatever reason. Bakara didn't. A key reason they made the RMC, the Republic Military Council. If you go back on my YouTube channel about a year ago, you'll actually see a very young Instarsym, not as knowledgeable in what the community would become, how it adapt, because I don't think anyone really. We were all kind of like faking it till we made it. Honestly, like there were some people that were transferred over from Milsim. I don't like using people who transferred from real life to the video game as a good example, because this video game and its mechanics is much different than a real person trying to kill you, So, and we don't actually have Darth Vader trying to strangle us or blasters being shot at us, So it's very different to compare those situations. The structuring and all that does work out very well, going from real life to the game. But I think Bakara was one of those few people who wasn't doing the military side of things, compared to like 501st and 212th and stuff like that. They didn't have a Milsim guy come in. They didn't have a real life experience guy come in. It was simply people that wanted to play Star Wars with their buddies. And you could argue with the 21st, they were the first. So they were the first 21st. They just kept on growing and getting members. And now there's this kind of curse with it where they can kind of get members because of their name, but they can't because of everything that's bad that's happened to them associated with the name. So to continue on with the whole Bakara and RMC thing, the 21st was like the head foundations of that. They wanted to be the opposite of Gark, where at the time it mostly revolved around the 501st, and the 212th was just there, and the 104th was just there. And we can definitely correlate to, they kind of switched roles. Gark, where it was primarily 501st, 212th, and 104th on the side, RMC wanted to be everybody was equal, even the smallest of units. Now it's kind of reversed because Gark, there's more equality between the units and the say. Even though there's 2 units in it, and there's 1 unit that's trying to get in it, but they still have a good bit of say. That's the interesting thing, I would argue, to say with the 101st.
So, in my view, Gark entirely is a more of a restrictive part within the Starsym community. I personally find this entire Gark issue retarded because, say, for example, I was told that Gark restricts you from using outside mods. For example, SWLS. You're not allowed to use that mod without you're only allowed to use TCW.
It hasn't came out yet, but I don't want to go too much in like the Gark side of things because there'll be a whole different tangent. I want to keep it just on 21st, but I would say Gark is more for casuals. Take it any way you want if you want to, get offended about that or see the side on that or the discussion on that. But it is very bare bones, and we typically play a heavier style. I would say more inclusion of stuff that's in the mod, you know. So RMC wanted to get everybody together. They wanted to fight back against the evil Gark tyranny. I think that's where they kind of went wrong because RMC, they had a guy who ran it, faked having his legs amputated to get out of it because I don't know if you know this, running servers and everything is very costly, and that was kind of his resort in getting out of it. So it was a bit of a bummer there, a bit of a step back, especially because it was the whole cloning Camino process of, Gark has that, we're going to do this trial period to get you in, get you like through a it's like a two-week, 2 month, depending on how long you stretch it out, program, get rid of your problems, hopefully. The Camino thing was you've arrived, welcome clones, and from there it branches out to who will go where. And my biggest problem with the RMC is that it didn't diverse people to units that needed people. Most people either went to whoever was the specialty, and the big one being 21st for just keep on getting people,
Yeah.
And so I think ultimately it imploded on itself in that aspect. And Bakar, depending on whose story you want to believe, Bakar was overthrown or Bakar kind of just left. But in the end, you could even see in my videos the foundations of what I would call a deadly alliance. You have no names and you have jobs. With most people in Star Sim, I can call them my friends. But together, they were something that really could have been a driving force in Star Sim, I think. I don't want to get too much into no names, real life in that aspect. I want to keep it more towards the unit base and your experiences. But there are some, situations when we're going to have to bring up the demise of the 21st. And I don't want to just throw them under the bus entirely on the situations, but we're probably going to have to get to that. So that wraps up everything there with Bakara heading out the door. For anybody that's ever met him or heard of the name, there gives it to you. He tried to do a first order thing, but because of you people listening to this probably who play this game, you only care about clones. So it didn't work out for him. And I don't know where he's at now, but best of luck to him. Here you are, Krim, coming in to the 21st, fresh out of the 501st. What's the deal? How do you float in here? And that's another interesting thing. How did you come into the 21st? Because some people during Bakar's thing were kind of given ranks ahead. And what was like there? Did you? And that's gonna be a trend here in this podcast too. I know I've been talking a good bit, but that'll be a trend of people being given stuff, not really earning it based on their time, not just within the community, but in the unit in particular.
Yeah. So when I was in the fight group first, I was getting bored of doing the same stuff, and as I said, I wasn't really involved in as many events. I was more part of. I was able to attend like side missions and not important events, I would say. So I was getting quite fed up with it, and decided I was going to look for another one. One that popped into that I saw and was interested in was 104th. But then I saw the 21st, in which I had no idea what they are, but I only knew they were like the red snow troopers. So I talked to them for a bit and decided to transfer over. And when I transferred, I stayed there for a while as a CT, and yeah, basically that's how I got in.
So you jumped over the whole CR thing. Um,
Well, so when I was in the 501st, we were CRs for a entire day. We had to go through a community training. We had to go through a battle simulator. It was great fun. And then after we completed everything, if they see the good in us and we are certified to be 501st cadets, and after that we had to do, I believe back then it was 3 entire operations that you had to do before you received a CT rank. Now you have to wait for like 3 months to receive it. The entire system with the 501st back then was completely weird. It was more on how you did, and if you attended stuff, then you have the same amount of time. Like they're going off real life military, so you have to stand for an amount of time before you receive your net rank. 21st, it was more like favoritism in my eyes. You were favorited by the commander or a officer, you received a promotion. I remember a specific person who was in the 21st. He came in that week after I did. Um, Throughout my time with the 21st, he reached the rank of staff sergeant or senior sergeant. I forgot which one it is, but yeah, it was completely favoritism within the 21st ranks.
mhm.
What else? 21st GARG. That's another thing. GARG. So you addressed how 21st wanted to be part of GARG. I myself don't remember or know why. No names 21st wanted to be GARG specifically. Maybe he felt like he would have gotten more respect within the community. I think that was one. But it was completely weird on why he wanted to be part of a GARG with only had 2 members at the time.
You there?
Yeah.
Because at this time, 104th had already collapsed. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have to give a timeline too, by the way, because there's a very distinctive shift in
Okay.
Star Sim from
Okay.
December, early December to the
It,
Christmas update, because that's when you guys get your uniforms and you can really push. Like, in my personal thing, I love the Magneto stuff. What you guys are doing, whether it being the whole 9 yards, really, when it came to Venators being controlled by like zombie clones or whatever, crashed landing Sith acquisitors or whatever they're called, jumping on the ship, attacking people, like the whole 9 yards on Magneto was a very good story for the 21st. I think I will vouch for this. Very few units have great campaigns, but even amidst like the higher up interior drama of the 21st, which is it's something that doesn't happen too much in Star Sim. You always hear about the exterior drama. You don't really hear about interior high up drama, which explodes or implodes, I should say,
oh yeah.
on them and makes the whole unit explode itself. So,
So the drama within, I would say, High Command. Let's just call them High Command.
yeah.
The drama within High Command was very, very secretive. I was in the middle. I represented the CTCRCCs, and I also represented the higher up. So I was in the middle of this. And I remember coming into drama, there were incidents where people started shit, and they were kicked for retarded reasons, or they were kicked for
Mm-hmm.
reasons they weren't able to explain. It had drama here and there.
Do you think people at the 21st, I think this is another maybe in particular flaw with it, is that people took their rank too serious?
Um, so for ops, we you were aware that we had a system. Actually,
Yeah.
no, that's sorry. People in 21st, we took ranks. I don't know why, and I don't know why and when we did it, but we took ranks too seriously. We did a thing called pulling rank on each other. So, say I was a CP, so I had to respect everyone above me, clone sergeants. So, say if I got out of line, you would pull rank on me, saying, "Oh, I'm a sergeant. You have to obey me." We took ranks as I don't know how to say. I don't know what the word is, but they acted too. I would call them special snowflakey.
Mm-hmm.
It was. We also had arcs. I was the commander, the leader of the arcs. Um, we didn't have to be. We couldn't be special snowflakey because if we were, we would not be a thing. So I made sure everyone stayed in line. But at the same time, like I said, I represented the CTs, CCs, CRCs, all of them. And if they got bullied, I had to step up. And if I got bullied, I couldn't do anything. And it was the ranking system, like I said, it was all on favoritism. People received ranks quicker than I could have received a corporal rank. It was insane. And honestly, the system within the not the 501st, the 21st was broken. It was corrupt, I would go as far to say.
You there?
Yeah. So, yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. It was broken, it was corrupt. People took their ranks too seriously. People would have, I remember a few people within 21st acting like Arma, this game was their life.
Mm-hmm.
This is how far this clan community has gotten to a point where if people think that this game is their life, it's going too far, honestly. And then we just have to say to ourselves, why do we do this? Why do we play this game?
Need
Is it
to
for
step
fun?
back and have the reset button.
Yeah, exactly.
I think units. Arma is the weirdest game. I think there's a lot of weird games out there, but Arma and the community for it is very weird. Not to dive too much into it, but you have roleplay stuff, and then you have unit stuff. Two very different things on the spectrum, but work perfectly in this game. And if you can figure out the mechanisms for what makes a good roleplay server or what makes a good unit, and then you branch off from, there's modern, there's Star Sim, there's World War II, the Cold War, everything in between, even like Halo and Warhammer and crazy stuff they're always coming up with now, you know, and both sides are kind of flawed, because you need certain aspects for the roleplay thing to work, and you need certain aspects for the units to work. And I think a lot of the aspects for both of them hurt them in the same way, because the units, they've always made it feel very serious, extremely like. And I think because Arma itself tries to get both fan bases. It tries to get the older military fan base, but yet it wants the gamers, it wants, and I think Star Wars is a very niche. So we're a niche inside of a niche, inside of another niche, because we're opposition right now, As of this recording, we are still opposition. You need Star Wars opposition to work, which you need to go through the VK, the shady Russian website, whole 9 yards to get that to work. Then inside of it, you have Star Wars as a whole, and the unit stuff. And some people take it very serious. Some people don't know when to take it serious. And some people just relax and have fun, And
Yeah.
then it's Arma in general, which up until last couple of years, Arma hasn't refined itself enough to work for everybody. I mean, when this game came out, dude, in 2013, 5 years ago from right now, you needed a beefy computer to run it. It wasn't like Arma 2. And Arma 2 Arma 2 mostly got its fan base from DayZ. Arma 3, it's really hard to pick and choose like where they got their fan base from, but I wouldn't say it's from opposition as much as, unit pages would want you to believe it from, and I wouldn't say it's even entirely from, you know, roleplay servers, from media influencers. So I think breaking it down to the very core of just Arma's gonna be Arma is the best way to explain it, because the 21st, they they were more on this serious side of things, where they probably should have taken a step back and realized, like, you know, I get where higher ups in units stress out, mostly because how are we going to pay for the server and how are we going to pay for the team speak. Those are two main things you need to work. Discord's free. Discord is freaking great. If somebody could work their way around a TFAR for Discord, you'd be saving a lot of people money right now. I'm just going to say that. I'd appreciate it, you know, but that's just how the game rolls, dude. And servers, you can fake it till you make it. You can universal plug and play and all that. But even then, it's still like, it's not 24/7. And I think that is what the 21st really, they stressed out about too, of who is the leadership who can get us to be stable. And instead of keeping like everyone together, this is where people really started branching off. You good there, Krim?
You can hear me?
Yeah, you good.
All right. So 21st had many problem. One of the problems is that they didn't have enough money. They relied several times on people donating. The servers for Discord, I mean not Discord, TeamSpeak, and the Armor servers went down. I would say about 3 times in total. The unit itself ran on its members' donations, which sucked to know about. Because if I'm going to join a unit, I need to know that the leader that runs this unit can do it with his own money, not having to rely on others.
Yeah, I know where that shot's going towards, by the way. And I it's a double-edged sword, dude, and it's a battle that, ethically, you gotta pick where you stand. Do I stand more on, at least when I was running things serious as ISR as a unit before it became, there's a full-fledged gaming community for my friends and everybody to just surround themselves in and have a good time. When it was doing the unit stuff, which I'd say I actually hated because I had to make sure we have 24/7 server, make sure we have a team speak and all that. I was very prideful, and I understand that's where a lot of the unit leaders are coming from. They want to be able to not to depend on someone else, not to depend on their own friends, and that's another problem of, if you're running this thing and you got to give your second in command, you got to give someone second in command just because they're running the server. Like, that's a very hard decision to make. Like, do you sacrifice the morals of the unit giving someone second in command so everyone else can play, or do you have to risk like no one else can play because you don't want to ever say that you forced money out of someone, and you know it's hard, dude. Is it forcing money out of them, or are they donating towards the better of the unit? And it's like, if you have to force them to pay to play, is it not really donation at that point? Is it? So I see the points there. There's a lot of internal conflicts that people just don't look at. I think when you're a soldier, online soldier, as funny as it is to say, in this thing, you do have a lot of fun, and you don't have to look at all the internal stuff. But once you've been in this game and you've seen how it runs, and you see like what you need to continue to run this for everybody, now, not to get more on a side tangent, but opposition isn't going to last forever, and people need to look like, what is Star Sim going to look like from a year from now? Are we going to have Arma 4? All these crazy things to think about. And sometimes it is good to just take a step back, relax, and focus on the now, but still be prepared for then. And how was the 21st with that? A bit of a segue, but how was the 21st, preparing for leadership? Because it seemed like it just got passed down to passed down to passed down until it kind of got stable. I know you were gone for a bit, which we'll talk about, but in your time with ARC, what was going on there? Because you guys were really kicking it with ARC commandos, the whole 9 yards. Really, you guys were trying to utilize stuff in the mod.
When ARC was made, my goal was to make everyone feel like a purpose. That's not trying to get a rank. It was to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm the best of the best within the clan. I'm the best and the best within this unit. I'm the best with the best by everyone. But ARC, that wasn't the point of ARC. It was to give everyone a goal. I gave many people goals, and 21st, you had pilots, you had qualifications, aka MOSs you could have gone for. But a lot of people left due to them not wanting to do all that because you could have received every qualification. I've done that, and it was quite easy for a lot of people to do it. And same for me. We were able to get all the qualifications done within like an hour, which, if you really think about it, is not long. And ARC was made for like an entire month worth, and it was a very a goal for a lot of people for within 21st, in which I was happy to play my part within the 21st.
Mm-hmm.
ARC was a it had a very strong place within the hierarchy, and then shit came up, and ARC had to be shut down because.
So were you in charge of that?
Yes, I was.
So how, before we go into why it was shut down, how did you pick the people for it? Or was it just, did someone else pick it and they were saying, well, now you got to put up with these guys? Or how was that gone about? I like to dive into the specialization of that, selection.
Yeah, so there's two ways. Either a officer or Chandler would have suggested someone to me, or I would have suggested someone, and I wouldn't have just said, "Oh, you look good. Let me choose you." No, I would at least evaluate you for like an entire week before I can make a decision. And then after that, we would have begun, how can I say it? Evaluations, and then we did training for 2 months. And if you dropped out by training, then you were going to be hard. It set a lot of goals within the 21st itself.
And that was just the ARC program itself. That was, not counting the commando stuff. Your mic's acting up again, by the way, Krim.
What?
I said your mic was acting up there.
My bad. So in the 21st, Chandler only made ARC as for reconnaissance, in which I got in so many arguments about. It's not about this. It's about we're special forces. We go in behind the lines, we get shit done, and then we send the infantry. He got tired of that, and frankly, I try to do his bidding. I try to make us reconnaissance, in which I've done successfully. And then he was like, I don't want to see ARC. I want to see commandos because they recently released commandos, and I want to try that. So he shut down ARC and gave everyone I would say, demotion at least 1 by 1 rank, and then placed us into random fire teams, which honestly wasn't good, but at the same time, people were happy that ARC was gone and commandos were in, and I don't frankly know why, because people said that ARC was special snowflakey, in which I made a rule that said if you're a special snowflake,
you're making it, yeah. And commandos always like. This is nothing against my friends, Jester or Corvus, who've done the commando stuff. it's very hard to make a special forces super serious, um, especially in Arma itself, you know.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen more times than not the commando stuff. It's an entire commando unit. It's not a small select people who they know what they're doing. You know, it's not necessarily that usually. It's the entirety of something. It's not the very select few who are the highest. But I wouldn't dog them for that because everyone has their own preferences. You know, if you want that experience, you can get it. And I think that's why, like, as much as I still harp on Star Sim a little bit, I think if there are certain experiences you want, you can get in Star Sim. Now, sadly, that's not the case because there's not enough want for certain elements of Star Sim, such as Imperial Era, Old Republic, Jedi,
Yeah.
First Order, stuff like that. Um,
I think that people need to face the fact that clones will not be able to last as long as they. It might. I would say Clone Wars would have another year at last, and then the fall of basketball.
Something weird will happen. I think some new trend, like it's really weird because there's never been anything that really built and got crazy amounts of steam and you know, it changed the game so much. Because what I did was more of the relaxed nature, just play with your friends. It wasn't the unit stuff, and I think that's where it differs. Of there's not a unit that has systematically changed the game and the era, and it needed to thrive for that. The 203rd did a great job at that. 21st, you know, when they got new armor, did a great job at that. But for the most part, you still see the norms. You see just a rehash color scheme. And then, of course, I've talked about specializations of like just phase one units, you know, and they're very far and few in between because they're not really utilized on the ones that most use phase two. And if they do, it is like one in like 100 ops. You'll see like a phase one variant of them being utilized.
Yeah.
Um,
The SWAP community is very built on loans, which I hate to see it. I want to see more diversity within the SWAP community
yeah, dude.
entirely. I myself want to see Empire and
Hmm.
First Order
I want to see
because
Old Republic. That's
yeah,
that's what I really want to see. Anything else is great. You know, more clone stuff to play with. If it ever gets played with, that's cool. Aliens, I think, is phenomenal. But I really want to see Old Republic. I don't think it will change the game, and that's that. But I do think it would be a very cool thing to have. Because think about it this way: Arma's been around for 5 years. It took 4 years to get Star Wars. Given before that there were hints of Star Wars coming to Arma, and there was kind of stuff of Star Wars. And this was something I was talking about Jay with last night. That originally there was no clones, actually it was Imperials. So Imperials literally are not only the father of the clones when you look at movies and all that and books, but even in Star Sim it was Imperials. But then when people got clones, they were like, well, I grew up from the Clone Wars TV show. I feel like I'm one of the oddball ones, not only for like how I've approached Star Sim, you know, going from the very bottom layer all the way to the top, or maybe from the top layer to the bottom to change things. But I was a Clone Wars movie 2003, I think it was, type of guy. You know, I wasn't
yeah,
the TV show Clone Wars type of guy like most will see. Because they'll be like, oh, you remember Umbara? And I'll be like, yeah, do you remember that really cool, like, four turret troop we had on the TV show, and the guy who was destroying the B2s like they were nothing, who was an arc, and we had the Jedi looking Wampa dude. It was great. Like that's what I remember when I think about the Clone Wars and the cool dude with the this is a good point, by the way, not to, too much on a side tangent again, but there was like a Lancer droid. He's what I'd really like to see, a Lancer droid going at people. I know melee doesn't work, but it'd still be cool to see one of those things, even if they like fired like a little laser or something. But no, let's head back to the 21st again, and tell me a bit about your last few days in the 21st for you, because ultimately you had to hear from me how the 21st had ended, but I still want to hear like from the days prior of you leaving, and then we'll talk about the stuff in between, and then how you kind of came back and whatnot.
So
Here we are
when
now.
I was on the 21st, it was about I would say 2 weeks after Art was disbanded, and I was still a CP, and I recognized it was going to fall because we've had a new person come into the unit, received um, a very high rank for a very high rank for someone that just came out of nowhere and is basically the new second in command. Many people were pissed off about this, and this person started making bad calls. This person started making up ops. It was starting. The fall 21st began when this person was in command and received its rank and started. I would say abusing this person's rank.
Especially with defined leadership, where you need someone who knows how to play Arma and knows what server and everyone needs. Like I said, server team speak, whole 9 yards, keep everyone together. And the leadership who went from no name, from when no name wanted to go do Halo and stuff like that, to the second in command, it was a relationship case. We'll say that at the very least, of how it was passed down, and that person had I wouldn't say no right. I would just say didn't have a single clue of like the
This
Star
person
Sim
was very.
community. Star Sim
This
community
person
is
was.
very different than I Halo community, off trade community, very rough. They don't get many people. Still very, for how many limited units there are that play together, still very good people. I've had great experiences with them. Modern day, very very serious. Not many too relaxed ones. They try to keep it more what you're gonna get. You know, World War II is really fun. I think not as serious, but still mixed elements. Star Sim, I think because there's the very serious and then there's the very relaxed. It's very hard to find that middle ground because everyone used to play in that middle ground from old Star Sim. But then when this new update came, I truly think it did change everything for everybody for some weird reason. It was like not a solar eclipse. I'm trying to think of the word here. If you've ever played RimWorld and your people start changing moods because of like a change in like the stars aligning or something, that's kind of what I'm looking for here. But I continue on with your story from the 21st and change in leadership and not knowledgeable of the game.
Yeah. So this person was beyond new to Arma. Um, this person dated the leader within the 21st. And for that, this person received a rank or position within the unit. She didn't get on as far I would, for as far as I know, and before I left, she never attended a single op. And then um, it was falling. It was sadly falling. People started to leave that I wanted to go with, but I stayed within the true of my heart. And of course, shit began shit began to fall within my life, sadly, and which resulted me into leaving.
So with stuff going on in your life, um, this is where I kind of jump in to explain things on the 21st. So in that time in between, the 21st shifted leadership a lot. This isn't explaining too much, but they kind of try to do the RMC thing again under CENTCOM, and 21st didn't use it to leverage themselves and get themselves back up. They used it as, well, we couldn't get into GARC, so we're going to do this other thing, when that's what they originally were built on. And last year was, well, we can't really get in GARC. We can try to, we can try our best, but we're not going to. We're just going to make our own thing. Which, at that point, like, I've always stand on all these little things. I'm going to shoot real quick. Stuff like Django's Finest, CENTCOM, Shadow Council, even GARC, I think they're very weird concepts. That's like saying in Milsim, we have the United Nations, or we have the Axes and the Allies. I said it all weird, but that's like saying, okay, we are a Wehrmacht unit and we only play with the Italian forces, or we play with the Spanish fascist resistance, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or we're the Allies and we only play with American units, or British units, or French units. Like, it's a very weird concept that I don't think I've ever seen in any other Milsim aspect. Usually, if you really don't see it at all, so I'll give Starsim that. You do see a lot of intermingling, I think, because of how small the community is. Don't be, I will say this, from now seeing the whole picture, I saw like 90% of the picture, but now coming full circle and seeing every little aspect of everything from the GARC side and the non-GARC side, but I still have way more to learn in the GARC side of things. I still think you can say the community is not as big as what people try to paint it out to be, even with the 501st. It's still a very small community, so I understand why people play together, because you don't really get that in other Milsim units. You don't just see, like, the 101st Airborne will join the 7th Cavalry Division, You don't see stuff like that outside of Starsim, so I'll give them that. But I think trying to, unless it's in like PvP aspect, I probably should clarify. But to subjugate it to, well, if you're not part of this special group within a special group, like, you can't play, it's so weird. I think that people should just say, okay, well, we're buddies with the 212th. We'll let them play anytime we want, but we don't need a secret little group or whatever, select group. And 101st is chill. We'll let them play, but I think these guys over here we shouldn't let play. So that's where the whole GARC banning thing, kind of, right now it's GARC isolationist, but originally it was like GARC banning individuals and stuff, which I think as crazy as it sounds, I'd rather have that method of, like, just banning individuals that for a fact want to sabotage your ops, than entirety of people that you've never met before who are actually pretty chill. I will say that. I will vouch that 80% or 70% of the community is really chill, but when they're in full-on unit mode, I think they do take it to the whole next level. So,
Yeah.
But that I've gone on a couple of side tangents just to explain things a bit. Sorry about that. But so yeah, they went through their leadership, and then eventually the 21st died a horrible death when they decided to do a SEAL team unit. And it wasn't until recently, until like early in the summer, when a whole different person tried to start it back up. That died also. Then another person tried to start it up. But tell me a bit how you came back here.
So when I came back into the community, it was after what I had to go through. I basically was interested in how the community was doing. I was a bit interested. I didn't know what the hell was happened when I was gone. Um, and I was like, I'm gonna come back to the community. I'm gonna slowly try to gain my personality and interest within the Starsum community. And until what I learned, yeah, sadly, it just makes me want to not join a Starsum unit.
I can't say I don't blame you. We had this conversation where like, um, I'm giving it one last little blow off just to say I tried the 501st. I tried a Gark unit, and I'll go more into detail with this at a later podcast, definitely. But I uh, I think this will be my last little go probably until either a big update comes out, or Fallout takes all of my time, because that's the big plan with that at least, for a big update to come out in Star Sim community, whether it's the Clone Wars or Legion Studios, or even
The
Swap.
one thing in the Starsum community
Mm-hmm.
is diversity. Like you said, we want to have Old Republic, we want to have Separatists, we
Mm-hmm.
want to have First Order, we want to have Empire units. People don't find that interesting. I don't know why.
Yeah.
People think clones are these badasses. They want to be. Well, you're going to get bored of that sometime. When you've been in the community as long as me and seeing shit and knowing and learning,
Mm-hmm.
you just understand this is boring. I want to try something new. In which sadly, all these new units that have been popping out of the frankly nowhere just don't want to do that shit. They like
Mm-hmm.
we have like I would say two knowing Imperial units, and of which I frankly find interested in joining because I want to be part of a different community than just clones. Because people make Empire or First Order, they don't have a lot of background, they're not special. If you actually put in the time and effort in learning and what they have a lot of shit, and I would say more than frankly the clones.
Yeah, base game swap for Imperials have a lot of stuff. Um, and I think people gotta understand with Arma of how playing with the AI is really boring and it doesn't work. Like you will not get, even with VCOM AI and all these great mods that make the AI just a little bit smarter, a little bit better, a little bit more like people. You aren't gonna get the actual experience, which really sucks. I'm just gonna say that. Like you have to have other human beings who are a little bit competent in getting this thing, rolling. So I think you can't you can't do the whole AI thing. Like you can try and get elements of it to work, but it's still a hard thing to balance. While Krim's changing real quick to give a quick story to his
But yeah,
phone. hmm Yeah, so while Krim's changing real quick to his phone, because his battery died on his computer, and give a side story of how I've kind of got things to work with still implementing, mass amount of armies led by individuals or using role play, characters or characteristics to like expand. Like you start off with 3 guys, but then you run into militia forces that'll aid you, stuff like that. It expands it a little bit more. I know it's the AI, so they do stupid stuff, but that's still a little bit more manpower. Solo base is not gonna work out that much, at all in Arma. It's just sadly not one of those games that you can pick up like a Tom Clancy's game where your AI, like, they're going to be able to assist you in an effective manner. And I don't know why I'll be able to really say it on that one, whether it's like support and how they're carried out, using, AI behavior, telling them to do stuff, move to stuff, holding position, holding fire, like stuff like that even is
all
been
right, there
worked
we go.
out. But
All right, there we go.
mhm.
So continue what you were saying.
I was just saying a bit about how Arma AI, like you'll never get the experience with other people, who are at least somewhat competent, as you will with the AI, because the AI tries to just it tries to do its own thing. It's really hard to explain. When you see it, you'll be like, yeah, that's Arma AI for yourself. But I think that's why these whole unit things are so valued, because people see the AI at work and they're like, well, let me get some people in here and actually talk to them in TFAR and Acre for anyone. If you don't know what Acre is, you haven't been doing this in a long time. I'm gonna say that Acre is a very grandfather to the whole TFAR thing, or changer of it. In some ways, it's has interesting aspects which are good, but TFAR is what everyone come to know and love.
Yeah. So I like facing PvP aspect
Mm-hmm.
within Arma. It's of course broken and needs improving by Bohemia, but
Mm-hmm.
if it runs good, it's fabulous to play and watch because it's randomized. You don't know what the player's next move is going to be. He might have thrown and have gone west. You don't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
It, that's what I love about it.
like you can, if you've played Arma long enough, even if you haven't played it for like a ridiculous amount of time, like hundreds of hours, thousands of hours, or whatever people put in this game, you can still be like, oh, the AI, well, it's randomly going to throw grenades at you. It's randomly going to try to blow you up. It's going to prone on the ground 90% of the time when combats start. It's not going to go like hide behind cover or try to advance on you or move around you and flank you. It's going to try to just lay on the ground and fight you. Like, that's a very base minimum AI
Only
without
program
VCOM and
in
stuff.
specific things. People that control units
Mm-hmm.
are actually able to do a lot more than a simple AI.
Mm-hmm.
Leaning, shooting, burst fire, going in a certain direction without having to go off course. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's people, if people actually are able to do PvP ops, like what an AI op should be, but as with people,
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a good and awesome thing to watch.
Yeah. Those are even harder to get people to invested in, because people really like fighting AI and really like working together. So much so that they like to complain about how much they work together. As this whole podcast, revolves around complaining, or criticizing, critiquing the community that. The AI. So, but no, tell me this, Krim, because we've talked, my friend. I always got to give a hard jab, to the gut, hard kick to the stomach, dude. And here's the one for you, the big question. All right, we've talked recently about the 21st, and while I definitely don't want to be Zeusine leading, I want to get to enjoy and play the game, before I go on to whatever's next in YouTube gaming, whatever land I pursue. Um, for you though, are you the one who's gonna break the curse of the 21st? Because you've been intrigued in it a bit. What's your mind going through on this whole 21st ordeal?
21st in my mind, I respect it. I loved it. I loved being part of a snow trooper or hazardous unit.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear about it die and come back several times, it's and people failing at that, frankly, it's not a respectable thing to do. So what I will probably do is I'll probably try to give 21st a shot in restarting. The way that's
Right.
going to be properly without dying in a week, I should say.
I I think you could do it. I think for you, more the problem will be the resources. And I think that's a lot of the problem with everyone else. It's not that, you know, structure or people
People
that
can
are,
find people that can take up a leadership position easily.
it's
It,
finding people. It's the server, the team speak, and the people, because like I said, it's really hard. It's really hard to get people. And then people just be active, people to be there when you expect them to be there, not just shooting on that one, but you know.
Yeah, so it'll take me to think after I come off from my break and vacation, but it's something I'm very much considering. If I don't want to do 21st, I'll probably do an Imperial or First Order unit run successfully. I ran several units that people would think, oh, you're not going to get popular for. It got pretty popular. It got about 30 to 40 active members, and if I'm able to pull off that, I'm probably able to pull off a very unpopular clan, say First Order. I'm probably able to pull that off. That's all about if people are willing and have the time and the money.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's all Armo's about is if you got the money, you got the time.
And you got the peoples, especially the peoples. But that's going to wrap it up here for us, my friend, on the special edition here of Regulator Talk, talking about the 21st. And Krim, it's been nice having you, my friend. Of course, we'll still be in contact even after this. And for everyone else, goodbye and good night.